My name is Rebecca. I'm 31 years old. And until 6 weeks ago, I thought loving someone meant thinking ahead for them. I've always been like this, organized, structured, prepared. I make lists. I schedule things. I like knowing what's coming next. It's not about control, it's about safety, about making sure the people I love don't fall through cracks I can already see forming. My boyfriend Ryan knew this about me from the beginning. We'd been together for 2.5 years. We met on a dating app, one of those late night swipes that turns into a 3 hour conversation and then suddenly into a life. We bonded over travel, documentaries, stupid inside jokes, and the shared belief that effort mattered. Or at least, I thought we shared that belief. The fight that ended everything happened on a Thursday night, 2 days before we were supposed to fly to Lisbon. I'd been planning that trip for 3 months. Flights booked on a price dip I'd been tracking. Hotel, a small boutique place in Alfama with a balcony overlooking the river. Restaurants, reservations made weeks in advance because Ryan once mentioned wanting to try them. I even learned basic Portuguese phrases, just enough to not sound like an idiot ordering coffee. I created a shared itinerary, flexible but thoughtful. Suggestions, not commands, a way to make the most of 5 days together. 17 pages. Thursday evening, I was reviewing final details on my laptop while Ryan scrolled through his phone on the couch. Hey, I said casually, did you check the luggage limits? I sent you the airline link last week. Oh, I'll figure it out at the airport, he replied, eyes never leaving his screen. That's not a great plan, I said. If your bag's overweight, they charge like 70 euros. He sighed. Rebecca, it's fine. It's not fine if we get hit with surprise fees. I budgeted everything carefully. That's when he finally looked up. Do you hear yourself? He said. You budgeted everything. You planned everything. You decided everything. I closed my laptop halfway. We talked about all of this. You approved it. No, he snapped. You presented me with options. And I said okay because you get annoyed when I don't have an opinion. But you'd already made the decisions before asking me. That's not fair. This whole trip feels like another one of your projects, he said. Color-coded, optimized, managed. My chest tightened. I wanted it to be special for us. I never asked you to do this, he said. I never asked you to turn our vacation into a corporate presentation. I stared at him, trying to understand how effort had become an accusation. So what? I asked quietly. You'd rather we fly to Lisbon with no plan and just hope things work out? Maybe, he said. That sounds more fun than following your damn spreadsheet. The venom in his voice shocked me. Why are you attacking me for trying to make sure we have a good time? Because you do this with everything, he said. Every date, every weekend. You treat our relationship like a task list. That's not true. Yes, it is, he said. You literally have reminders in your phone to text me. My face burned. Those reminders existed because once, I'd gotten busy with work and forgotten to text him all day. He'd said he felt neglected, so I made sure it wouldn't happen again. I did that because I care about you, I said, because I don't want to take you for granted. You're not supposed to need alarms to remember to love your boyfriend, he said. That's not caring. That's treating me like a chore. We stared at each other, and something in me went quiet. Not anger, clarity. I'm trying my best, I said softly. Well, he replied, maybe your best just feels suffocating. That's when I smiled. Good, I said, because I just marked this as completed. He blinked. What? This, I said, closing my laptop fully. Us. Consider it completed and archived. Rebecca, don't be dramatic. I'm not, I said. I'm finally being honest. He didn't understand yet, but he would. I didn't raise my voice when I said it was over. That's the part people never believe later. That there was no screaming, no throwing things, no dramatic storming out. Just a calm, surgical decision made in the quiet space where disappointment finally outweighs hope. Ryan stood in the bedroom doorway, arms crossed like he was bracing himself against a version of me he didn't recognize. So that's it? He asked. We have one fight and you're done? This isn't our first fight, I said. It's just the first time you've said out loud that the way I love you feels like a burden. That's not what I meant. It's what you said. He ran a hand through his hair, exhaling sharply. You're seriously ending a 2.5 year relationship over a spreadsheet? I looked at him then, really looked, at the man who couldn't see that the spreadsheet was never the point. I'm ending it, I said, because you don't want effort, and I don't know how to love without it. Silence stretched between us. Finally, he asked quieter, what about Lisbon? You should still go, I replied. Tickets are transferable. Take a friend. Have the spontaneous adventure you want. You're being childish. I almost laughed. I'm being practical, I said, which, according to you, is the problem. He didn't argue after that. He just turned away and started gathering his things. His overnight bag, his charger, the hoodie he always left draped over my chair. The door closed behind him without a slam. Somehow that hurt more. I sat on the edge of the bed for a long time after he left, staring at the indentation his body had left in the mattress. Then I opened my laptop, and I got to work. Hotel, canceled. Partial refund. Restaurant reservations, canceled. Museum tickets, refund requested. Airport shuttle, canceled. I changed my flight to non-transferable, took the financial hit, worth it. Then I turned off my phone and went to sleep. Friday morning, I woke up to 38 missed calls and over 120 messages. I didn't read a single one. I blocked Ryan's number and went to work. My colleague Mason noticed immediately. "You okay?" he asked. "I broke up with my boyfriend last night." He winced. "Damn, wasn't Lisbon this weekend?" "Not anymore." He didn't push. I was grateful for that. I stayed late, drowning myself in spreadsheets that suddenly felt safer than emotions. Anything to avoid going home to an apartment that still smelled like his cologne. Saturday morning, the day we were supposed to fly out, I unblocked his number long enough to send one message. "I canceled everything. Lisbon's off. You were right. I was treating you like a task. Now you're free. Have a good life." Then I blocked him again and went for a long run. What I didn't know, what I wouldn't learn until later, was that Ryan had decided Friday night that our fight was fixable, that he'd packed anyway, that he'd gone to the airport believing I'd show up. According to what people told me later, Ryan arrived early, texted me, called me, straight to voicemail. He told himself I was just running late. He went through security with the ticket I'd left active. He waited at the gate. Boarding started. I wasn't there. He boarded the plane alone. 5 hours in the air, oscillating between anger and panic, typing messages I would never read. When he landed in Lisbon, jet-lagged and shaken, he turned on his phone, expecting apologies. Instead, there was only one message waiting for him. Not from me. From Laura. Laura was a friend of his I'd contacted Friday night with a single sentence. "Ryan's going to need someone. Can you pick him up at Lisbon Airport at 2 p.m.? I won't be there." She thought I was joking. I wasn't. Laura later told me that when Ryan walked through arrivals and saw her standing there instead of me, he stopped dead. Just stood there with his suitcase like the ground had shifted. "She's not coming, is she?" he asked. Laura shook her head. "No, she's not." That's when he broke. Full collapse. Middle of the airport, people staring. Tears he hadn't expected to cry. Laura got him into a cafe, got the story, and then called me that night, after I'd turned my phone back on. "Rebecca," she said, furious. "What the hell happened?" I explained, calmly, clearly. "So you just left him stranded in another country?" "I made sure he had someone," I said. "That's more planning than he wanted from me." "He's devastated." "He wanted spontaneity," I replied. "Surprise. This is spontaneous." There was a long pause on the line. "He wants to talk to you." "I don't want to talk to him." "Rebecca." "Tell him to enjoy Lisbon," I said. "Tell him to wander without a schedule. Tell him to have the adventure he wanted." "Without you," she said quietly. "Yes," I answered, "without me." I hung up. Sunday morning, I unblocked his number once more. There were dozens of messages, but only one mattered. "I'm sorry. You were right. I see it now. Everything you did was for us. Please call me. I love you." I stared at it for a long time. Then I typed back, "You don't get to realize I was good to you only after you lost me. I hope you find what you're looking for. It's not me." And I blocked him permanently. Monday morning, my work phone rang. I almost didn't answer it, almost let it go to voicemail like I had with everything else connected to Ryan. But something about the number, unfamiliar, persistent, made me pick up. "Rebecca," a woman's voice said, tight with emotion. "This is Mrs. Carter, Ryan's mother." Of course it was. "Hello," I said calmly. "Ryan is heartbroken," she said. "He made a mistake. Can't you forgive him?" I closed my eyes. "With respect," I replied, "Ryan didn't make a mistake. He told me exactly how he felt about the way I love him." "He was emotional," she insisted. "He didn't mean those things." "He meant them enough to say them," I said. "That's enough for me." "You're being cruel," she said, "leaving him alone like that." "I made sure he wasn't alone," I answered. "I arranged for someone to be there. I could have disappeared completely. I didn't." "This isn't like you," she said softly. "You're a good woman." "I am," I replied. "That's why I'm not staying with someone who thinks my effort is a problem." She tried to argue again. I ended the call politely. Ryan came back from Lisbon on Wednesday, 3 days early. Laura had stayed with him until Monday, then had to return home. Tuesday, he'd spent alone in the hotel I originally booked, the one he somehow managed to check into using my canceled reservation, paying out of pocket. Wednesday evening, my neighbor texted me. There's a guy sitting outside your apartment door. Looks upset. I didn't go home that night. I stayed at Mason's place instead. Thursday morning, I woke up to a long email from Ryan. Pages of apologies, explanations, self-awareness that had arrived too late to matter. He admitted he'd taken me for granted, admitted he confused care with control, admitted his fear of being managed had nothing to do with me, and everything to do with his own insecurities. The email ended with, I know you're done. I know I ruined something good. I just need you to know that you were right, and I'm sorry. I didn't respond. Friday, I ran into his friend group at a coffee shop near my office. The air shifted the moment they saw me. Sympathy from some, judgment from others. One of them, Natalie, approached me. You know he's not okay, right? She said. He's barely eating. He can't sleep. He cries constantly. I'm sorry he's hurting, I said honestly. But are you? She pressed. Because it kind of seems like you're punishing him. I'm not punishing anyone, I replied. I'm protecting myself. By abandoning him in Portugal? By ending a relationship where my partner told me my love was suffocating, I said evenly, and by not accepting an apology that only came after he experienced life without my effort. She had no response to that. 6 weeks passed. Ryan stopped trying to contact me after the second week. Through mutual friends, I heard he moved back to his hometown, needed a reset. Lisbon became a story people whispered about. Was I justified or was I cruel? I lost some friends over it, but I gained something else. Clarity. Mason asked me one night over drinks, do you regret it, the Lisbon thing? I regret not realizing sooner that we were incompatible, I said. But no, I don't regret ending it clearly. Even leaving him there? Especially that. He laughed softly. That's dark. Maybe, I said, but it's honest. I'm doing okay now. Better than okay. I've started seeing someone new, a man I met at a conference. Ironically, he works in operations. When I send him a detailed plan for a weekend trip, he calls it thoughtful. Not controlling. I saw on social media that Ryan's dating someone too. A woman who looks like she owns multiple crystals and says go with the flow, unironically. Good for him. He found his spontaneity. I found someone who doesn't think effort is a burden. My task list still exists. His name just isn't on it anymore. There's a strange moment that happens after a breakup like this. Not immediately. Not during the crying or the blocking or the aftermath logistics. It comes later, when the noise fades and people start rewriting your story for you. That's when I realized something important. No matter how carefully you explain your pain, some people will always prefer a simpler villain. And I was convenient. By week 2, the narrative had spread through our extended social circle. I'd abandoned Ryan. I'd punished him. I'd gone too far. No one asked what it felt like to be told that the way I loved someone was exhausting. No one asked how many times I'd swallowed my feelings to make space for his discomfort. They just saw Lisbon, and they decided that was enough. The next call came from Natalie again, this time less accusatory, more pleading. He wants closure, she said. Just one conversation, for his sanity. I already gave him closure, I replied. I just didn't wrap it in comfort. That's cold, Rebecca. No, I said. What's cold is staying with someone who quietly resents you. She sighed. You know he didn't hate your planning. He hated how it made him feel inadequate. That may be true, I said. But it was never my job to shrink so he could feel bigger. Silence. I'm not his villain, I added. I'm just the first consequence he didn't expect. A few days later, his mother emailed me again. Longer this time, softer. She talked about Ryan as a child. Sensitive, easily overwhelmed, afraid of disappointing people. She asked me to remember the good moments, to remember love. I read it carefully. Then I typed one sentence in reply. I loved your son deeply, but love that requires self-erasure isn't love. It's endurance. I never heard from her again. The thing people didn't understand was this. I didn't leave Ryan to teach him a lesson. I left because something inside me finally refused to keep auditioning for acceptance. When he said I treated him like a task, what he really meant was that my consistency made him uncomfortable. My effort reminded him of what he wasn't giving back, and instead of rising to meet it, he tried to reduce it. That was the moment everything broke. Not the fight, the realization. I started sleeping better around week 4. The tightness in my chest eased, the constant second-guessing quieted. I stopped replaying the argument in my head, stopped wondering if I'd said things differently, softer, kinder, because kindness had never been the issue. Compatibility was, and no amount of love fixes that. I saw Ryan in person one last time, not by choice. It was a Thursday evening, the kind where the city feels heavy and everyone looks tired. I was leaving a grocery store when I spotted him across the parking lot. Thinner, tired, still familiar enough to hurt. He saw me at the same time. "Rebecca," he said. I froze. "I'm not here to argue," he added quickly. "I just needed to see you." I nodded once, nothing more. "I know I don't deserve another chance," he said. "I know I said things I can't take back." "Yes," I replied. "But I finally understand," he continued. "You weren't trying to control me. You were trying to care for me." "I know," I said gently. His face crumpled. "Then why isn't that enough?" "Because understanding isn't the same as respect. Because regret doesn't undo contempt. Because I would always remember how easily he dismissed my love when it no longer felt convenient. I don't want to be loved reluctantly," I said, "or tolerated, or negotiated down." He nodded slowly, tears in his eyes. "I hope you find someone who appreciates everything you give," he whispered. "I already have," I said. That was the truth. I walked away. Later, Natalie texted me. "He's finally letting go. I think seeing you helped." I didn't reply. Some things don't need acknowledgement. That night, I deleted old photos. Not angrily, not dramatically. Just deliberately. I kept the memories that felt real. I let go of the ones that felt heavy. And for the first time, I didn't feel guilty for choosing myself. It's been 6 weeks now. Long enough for emotions to settle. Long enough for perspective to sharpen. I've learned something important in that time. People who benefit from your effort will miss it when it's gone. But that doesn't mean they valued it when it was there. I'm dating someone new. His name is Ethan. He doesn't flinch when I plan. He doesn't mock my reminders. He doesn't confuse consistency with control. When I sent him a weekend itinerary once, he smiled and said, "You thought about me." That's it. That was the difference. I heard Ryan seeing someone too. A woman who prides herself on being low maintenance, who doesn't like labels, who believes things should just happen. I hope it works. Truly. Because people deserve the love that fits them, not the love they spend years resenting. As for me, I still make lists. I still plan ahead. I still believe love is something you do, not just feel. The task list Ryan complained about? It's still there. It just no longer contains people who mistake effort for obligation. That's not cruelty. That's self-respect.